Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. I was halfway into my jacket when Brielle dropped the bombshell. Our suitcases stood ready by the door, packed for the Miami weekend she had been planning for months. The weekend I had rearranged surgeries to accommodate. "I need a month to decide if you are worth my investment," she said, her voice as cool as glass. I froze, my hand still on the sleeve of my jacket. "Excuse me." "You heard me." She crossed her arms, the platinum face of her watch catching the light. "A month to evaluate whether this relationship is worth continuing." I slowly took off my jacket and placed it on the chair. The emergency call from the hospital still echoed in my mind. A 14-year-old boy needed immediate surgery. A surgery only I could perform. "Let me get this straight," I said calmly. "Because I have to save a child's life, you need a month to decide if I am worth being with." "It is not just today, David." Her voice was crisp, businesslike. "It is the pattern. 3 years of cancel plans. 3 years of choosing patients over us. The hospital always comes first." I had been with Brielle for 3 years. In that time, I had saved dozens of lives and missed dozens of dinners. I had performed complex surgeries and skipped anniversary celebrations. And through it all, I had never realized that Brielle was keeping score. "A month," I repeated. "Yes. Consider it a trial separation." She straightened her designer blouse. "Your career choices are not providing the lifestyle returns I expected from this relationship." I looked at her then. Polished hair, flawless makeup, calculation in her eyes. In our luxury apartment, with its $1 million view, I suddenly saw Brielle clearly for the first time. She was not evaluating our love. She was assessing my market value. "The hospital called," I said simply. 14-year-old boy, congenital heart defect that suddenly deteriorated. "If I did not operate, he dies tonight." "There are other surgeons, David." "Not for this procedure. Not on such short notice." "There is always another emergency, is there not?" She sighed and checked her watch. "We were supposed to be sipping margaritas on the beach by sunset. And Caleb Williams is supposed to live past his 15th birthday." Her eyes narrowed. "Do not make me the villain here. I have supported your career for years. But relationships need maintenance, too. I have run the numbers. We have spent exactly 12 full days together in the past 3 months." Of course she had run the numbers. Everything was quantifiable to Brielle. "So you need a month," I said, picking up my medical bag, "to decide if I am worth keeping around." "Yes." She seemed almost relieved that I understood her corporate approach to love. "It is a reasonable time frame for assessment." I should have been angry, should have shouted or protested, or begged her to see that saving lives was not just a career choice, but the core of who I was. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. "All right," I said, heading for the door. "Take your time." The look of surprise on her face was worth more than any Miami sunset. "That is it. You are not going to fight for us." I paused at the doorway. "There is a boy who needs me to fight for him right now. And honestly, Brielle, anyone who needs a month to decide if I am worth loving already has their answer." The door closed behind me with a soft click that somehow felt more final than any slam could have. The hospital corridors welcomed me with their familiar antiseptic smell and fluorescent lighting. As I scrubbed in, the weight of Brielle's ultimatum faded against the more immediate pressure of saving Caleb Williams' life. "Cutting it close. Are you, Dr. Carter?" said Vanessa Price, my favorite scrub nurse, as she helped me gown up. "Had to cancel some plans," I said. "Miami with the Ice Queen," Vanessa replied. She had never hidden her dislike for Brielle, especially after meeting her at last year's hospital gala, where Brielle spent the evening networking with board members while barely acknowledging the nursing staff. "You could say those plans are on indefinite hold." Vanessa raised an eyebrow, but said nothing more as we entered the operating room where my team was prepped and waiting. On the table lay Caleb Williams, already intubated and prepped for surgery, his chest bare and vulnerable under the harsh lights. "Good evening, everyone," I said, my voice steady and focused. "We have a complex repair of tetralogy of Fallot with pulmonary atresia. Caleb has developed progressive right ventricular failure despite previous palliative surgeries. Let us give him a heart that can take him through high school, college, and beyond. Scalpel, please." The familiar weight of the instrument in my hand centered me. This was where I belonged. This was what mattered. 12 hours. That was how long we fought for Caleb's life. 12 hours of meticulous work, of moments when his pressure dropped dangerously, of adjustments and decisions that would determine whether a family kept their son or lost him forever. 12 hours when not once did I think about beaches or ultimatums or cost-benefit analyses of relationships. When I finally stepped out of the operating room, exhausted but triumphant, Caleb's parents were waiting in the consultation room, clutching each other's hands, their faces etched with a terror only the parents of critically ill children know. Dr. Carter, Mrs. Williams, stood immediately, her husband rising beside her, as if they were connected by invisible string. "How is he? Please tell me." "Caleb made it through surgery," I said, allowing myself a small smile. "The repair was complex but successful. He is strong, and he fought hard." Mrs. Williams collapsed against her husband, sobbing. Mr. Williams looked at me over his wife's shoulder, his eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he mouthed silently. This was a return on investment Betrayal would never understand. I explained Caleb's recovery process to his parents, answered their questions, and assured them they could see him soon in the pediatric intensive care unit. As I turned to leave, Mrs. Williams caught my arm. "Dr. Carter, you were supposed to be somewhere else tonight, were you not?" At my surprised look, she explained, "The nurse mentioned you came in for an emergency on your day off, that you had vacation plans." "It was nothing important," I said honestly. "It was important to us," she said, and she hugged me. I walked out of that consultation room, changed in a way I could not yet articulate. My phone buzzed. A text from Betrayal. "Hope surgery went well. Took a solo flight to Miami. I will be at the Four Seasons for the week. If you can get away, consider the star of our trial separation." I stared at the message for a long moment, then slipped the phone back into my pocket without replying. In the quiet hallway of the hospital, with the weight of a successful surgery still on my shoulders and the gratitude of the Williams family warming something long cold inside me, I realized Betrayal had done me a favor. She had given me a month, but I would not need nearly that long to know my own answer. The days that followed took on a strange, liberating rhythm. Without Betrayal's social calendar dictating my rare free hours, I rediscovered parts of my life I had neglected. I reconnected with medical school friends, spent evenings mentoring surgical residents, and even made it to my nephew's baseball game, something I had promised but repeatedly failed to do for months. Caleb Williams's recovery became a personal mission. I visited him daily, watching with satisfaction as color returned to his cheeks and strength to his voice. His room filled with get-well cards and the action figures his friends brought. One afternoon, I arrived to find him explaining a video game to his grandmother, who nodded with endearing confusion. "Dr. Carter," he called when he saw me. "Mom said you canceled a vacation to do my surgery. Is that true?" I glanced at Mrs. Williams, who gave a small shrug. "Just doing my job, Caleb." "Was it somewhere cool, like Disney or something?" "Miami," I admitted, checking his incision site and cardiac monitors. His eyes widened. "With your girlfriend and everything?" "Fiancé," I corrected automatically, though the word felt foreign on my tongue. "That is even worse. She must be very mad." I cannot help but laugh at his teenage directness. "She is taking some time to think about things." Caleb's face turned serious beyond his years. "Well, I'm glad you were here instead of there. Otherwise, I might be, he drew his finger across his throat dramatically. "Caleb," his mother scolded, but I was laughing again. "I'm glad I was here too." Later that week, I received a call from an unexpected source. Reginald Whitaker, the hospital's chief of surgery, asked me to come to his office at my convenience. Whitaker was a surgical legend in his 60s, with piercing eyes and a reputation for directness that terrified residents but earned everyone else's respect. "David," he said when I entered, gesturing for me to sit. "The Williams case. Impressive work." "Thank you, sir. I understand you came in on your day off, canceled personal plans." I shifted. It was the right call. Whitaker leaned back in his chair, studying me. "The board has been discussing the creation of a new position, Director of Pediatric Cardiac Surgery. A chance to build a specialized team, expand our capabilities. Your name has come up repeatedly." I blinked. "I am honored, but there are more experienced surgeons. Experience is not everything. We need someone with technical skill, judgment, and the right priorities." He fixed me with those famous eyes. Someone who cancels vacations to save a teenager with a bad heart. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably Brielle, who had been sending increasingly irritated messages about my lack of communication during her thinking period. I ignored it. I would like to be considered, I said. Whitaker nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. Good, because I have already advocated for you. The salary bump will not make you rich and the hours will be worse, but I think you are the right person for the job. As I left his office, my phone buzzed again. This time, I checked it, but it was not Brielle. It was a text from my sister. Mom's birthday dinner tonight, 7 o'clock in the evening. Please tell me you are coming this year. For the past 2 years, I had missed my mother's birthday celebrations. Once due to an emergency surgery. Once because Brielle had orchestrated a business dinner with potential clients she wanted to impress. Both times I had sent expensive gifts. Both times my mother had assured me she understood. Wearing that particular smile, mother's perfect to mask disappointment. I texted back immediately. Would not miss it. See you at 7. I arrived at my parents' modest suburban home with a bouquet of my mother's favorite lilies and a bottle of the scotch my father pretended not to enjoy. The familiar chaos of family dinner enveloped me immediately. My sister's twins raced through the house. My brother argued politics with my father. My mother fussed about the kitchen crowding while secretly loving every minute. David, Mom exclaimed, embracing me tightly. You made it. Happy birthday, Mom, I said, kissing her cheek and offering the flowers. These are beautiful. You did not need to bring anything. Having you here is the gift. She looked me over with a mother's sober eye. You look tired. Are you sleeping enough? Where's Brielle? The questions came rapid fire. Brielle is in Miami, I said, helping her arrange the lilies in a vase. Her hands stilled. On her own. Is everything all right between you two? I considered deflecting with an easy answer that would avoid concerned looks and prying questions. But being in my childhood home, with its worn furniture and walls covered in family photos, made honesty feel essential. No, I admitted. She is taking a month to decide if I am worth staying with. Mom's eyes widened. Because of your work? The emergency surgery was the trigger, but it has been building. She says I am not profitable enough for her. My mother's expression darkened in a way I rarely saw. Profitable. Did she actually use that word? She sees everything through an investment lens, relationships included. Mom shook her head, returning to the flowers with unnecessary vigor. When your father was finishing residency in internal medicine, we barely saw each other. He missed dinners, birthdays, even our first anniversary. We were so poor I worked double shifts as a nurse to make rent. I did not know that, I said. My parents rarely talked about those early struggles. It was hard, she admitted, but not once did I question if he was worth it. He was saving lives. Anyone who needs a spreadsheet to decide if they love you does not deserve you, David. Her words hit me with unexpected force, echoing my own, somehow more powerful coming from her. Now, she continued briskly, take those drinks to the living room while I finish the lasagna, and be prepared for your sister to interrogate you about your love life. She has been practicing her concerned face all evening. Dinner was loud and warm, full of stories, laughter, and the comfortable bickering of a family that genuinely enjoyed each other's company. I felt myself relaxing in a way I had not in years. There were no appearances to maintain, no networking to navigate, no conversational chess to play, just family, food, and the easy humor of people who know you at your core. As we were having cake, my phone lit up with Brielle's face. Everyone noticed. Are you going to get that? My father asked. I silenced the phone and returned it to my pocket. No, tonight is about Mom. My mother's smile was worth more than any deal Brielle had ever closed. Later, as I helped clean up, my sister Erica cornered me in the kitchen. So, trouble in paradise with the finance queen? She asked, loading plates into the dishwasher. Do not call her that, I said automatically, without much conviction. Sorry, but anyone who needs a month-long assessment period to decide if my brother is worthy of her time earns the title. She handed me a plate to dry. You know what is strange? I have known you your entire life, and not once have you ever looked truly happy with her. Erica, I'm serious, David. You get this tight expression whenever she calls, like you were bracing for a performance review. Remember Maya from medical school? You used to light up just talking about her. Whatever happened there? Maya Bennett. The name opened a door in my mind. Late-night study sessions that turned into deep conversations about everything from medical ethics to favorite childhood movies. The way her eyes crinkled when she laughed. How she would bring me coffee during overnight shifts, even when she was exhausted herself. She took a pediatric oncology fellowship in Seattle, I said quietly. We tried long distance for a while, but Brielle happened. I met her at a hospital fundraiser. She was intelligent, ambitious, beautiful. Maya and I were already struggling with the distance. And Brielle was here. Erica's expression softened. Have you ever wondered if you made the right choice? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Vanessa. Caleb Williams asking for you. Nothing urgent, but thought you would want to know. I need to go, I said, suddenly grateful for the exit. Hospital. Erica sighed but hugged me. Think about what I said, okay? And do not settle for someone who needs an assessment period to recognize what everyone else sees clearly, that you are worth everything. Her words followed me all the way to the hospital. Caleb was sitting up when I arrived, playing a handheld game with intense concentration. His mother dozed in the visitor's chair. Hey, champ, I said quietly. Nurse Vanessa said you were asking for me. He looked up, face brightening. Dr. Carter, I did not think you would actually come. Is it not super late? I checked my watch. A little after 9 o'clock in the evening. Not that late. Everything okay? He nodded, then glanced at his sleeping mother and motioned me closer. I wanted to ask you something private, he whispered. I pulled up a chair. What is on your mind? Is your heart okay? He asked, deadly serious. The question caught me off guard. My heart. Yes, it is fine. Why do you ask? Because you're a heart doctor who fixed my heart, but you seem kind of sad sometimes. My dad says you can have a broken heart, even when the actual organ is working right. Emotionally broken. I suppressed a smile. That is pretty insightful, Caleb. Is it because of your fiancé? The one who was mad about Miami. I glanced at Mrs. Williams, still asleep. Things are complicated with adults sometimes. My dad says that too, usually when I ask why he and Mom are fighting. He put down his game. Can I tell you something else? Of course. When I was being wheeled into surgery, I was super scared. But then you came in and told me how you were going to fix my heart, and you were not scared at all. You said you would take care of me like I was your own kid. That made me not scared anymore. I could tell you meant it. I remembered that moment, leaning down to reassure a terrified boy before anesthesia took him under. So if your fiancée does not see how great you are, he said, then maybe her heart needs fixing too. But not by you. I stared at him, momentarily speechless. This kid who had faced mortality at an age when most are worried about dances and games had cut through my confusion with perfect clarity. When did you get so wise? I asked. He grinned. Nearly dying gives you perspective. I ruffled his hair. I will take that under advisement. Mrs. Williams stirred. Dr. Carter, is everything all right? Everything is fine, I said, just checking on my favorite patient, who has been giving the nurses a hard time about his walking regimen. Walking is boring, Caleb protested. Walking is how you get out of here sooner. I countered. Tell you what, tomorrow I will walk with you, and you can tell me all about whatever game you are playing. His face lit up. For real? You actually want to hear about Celestial Conflict 7? Every dramatic detail. I promise, I said, standing to leave. But for now, get some rest. As I turned to go, Kayla called after me. Dr. Carter, for what it is worth, I would pick you right away. No month needed. The next week passed in a blur of surgeries, rounds, and administrative meetings about the new pediatric cardiac center. Brielle's messages grew increasingly terse, then stopped. I knew I should call her, have an honest conversation about where we stood, but every time I considered it, I found a reason to delay. The truth was, her silence had brought a peace I was not ready to disturb. Reginald Whitaker became an unexpected mentor, inviting me to collaborate on complex cases and introducing me to potential donors. The work was challenging and fulfilling in a way that made the days fly. Caleb continued to recover remarkably well. True to my word, I walked the corridors with him daily, listening to his elaborate explanations of video game lore, while monitoring his increasing stamina. On one such walk, we ran into Vanessa coming off her shift. Well, look at you, Caleb, she said. Practically racing now. Dr. Carter says I might go home next week if I keep it up, he said proudly. That is fantastic news. Vanessa turned to me. Speaking of news, Have you heard the latest hospital gossip? I groaned. Do I want to know? Probably not, but I'm telling you anyway. Her eyes sparkled. Your fiancé was spotted having dinner with Evan Pierce at Luke Bernardine last night. The name hit like a bucket of ice water. Evan Pierce was a notorious cardiothoracic surgeon at our rival hospital across town. Brilliant, arrogant, and known for pursuing wealthy, connected women who could advance his career. Who is Evan Pierce? Caleb asked, looking between us. Just another doctor, I said, my voice tight. A doctor who has been trying to steal Dr. Carter's job for years, Vanessa added. And apparently now his fiancée, too. Vanessa, I warned, nodding toward Caleb. Sorry, she mouthed, then said to him, ready to head back to your room? I heard they are serving chocolate pudding today. Caleb looked disappointed but nodded. Will you still come by later, Dr. Carter? Mom is bringing my PlayStation. Would not miss it, I assured him, watching as Vanessa walked him back. Once they were gone, I leaned against the wall, trying to process. Betrayal and Evan. In some ways, it made perfect sense. He was exactly the polished, ambitious man she would appreciate. The strange thing was how little jealousy I felt. Mostly I was just tired of the games, the calculations, the constant evaluation of worth. My pager buzzed. Whitaker wanted to see me. I pushed thoughts of Betrayal aside and headed to his office. David, good, he said when I entered. I was hoping to catch you before you left. I just came from a board meeting. The Pediatric Cardiac Center has been approved. Full funding, additional staff, everything we asked for. That is incredible news, I said, genuinely excited. They want you to lead it. He leaned forward. It is yours if you want it. But I should warn you, it will mean more responsibility, more hours. At least initially. More hours. Just a month ago, those words would have filled me with dread, knowing how Betrayal would react. When do they need my answer? End of next week. Whitaker studied me. Is there a problem? I thought you would be thrilled. I am, I said. It is just personal complications. Understanding dawned in his eyes. Ah, the fiancé issue. At my look, he chuckled. Hospital gossip. Impossible to escape. Apparently. Can I offer some unsolicited advice from someone who's been married 40 years? I nodded. My wife is a concert pianist, he said. When we were young, she traveled constantly. I worked 100-hour weeks as a surgical resident. We saw each other maybe 4 days a month that first year. How did you make it work? By understanding what we were building together was not just about being physically present. It was about supporting each other's purpose. He leaned back. Anyone who sees your dedication to patience as a failing rather than the core of who you are is not seeing you, David. They are seeing an inconvenience to their plans. His words landed hard. Take the weekend, he said. Think about what you really want for the center and for yourself. Then give me your answer on Monday. I left his office with my mind racing, barely noticing where I was walking until I found myself in front of the hospital chapel. I stepped inside, drawn by its quiet. I sat in the last pew, staring at a simple stained glass window depicting healing hands. In the stillness, I allowed myself to face the truth I had been avoiding. Betrayal and I were fundamentally incompatible. Not because she valued financial success and I did not. I appreciated what money could provide, but because we defined success in different terms. For her, success was measured in acquisitions, property, status, connections. For me, it was measured in the eyes of parents when I told them their child would live, in the renewed strength of a heart I had repaired, in the potential of a pediatric center that could save countless young lives. My phone buzzed, pulling me out of it. A text from Betrayal. We need to talk. Dinner tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the evening. 11 Madison Park. Do not be late. No request. No question. A command delivered with the expectation of compliance. How had I ignored that pattern for so long? I texted back. I will be there. It was time in the month early. 11 Madison Park glittered with understated luxury, the kind of place where the wealthy spoke in hushed tones and the staff moved like shadows. Betrayal had chosen well, a public place that demanded composure, yet exclusive enough that any scene would have social consequences. She was already seated when I arrived, stunning in a black dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Her expression was carefully neutral. You are on time, she noted, sounding almost disappointed. I expected surgery to make you late. I made sure to keep the evening clear, I said. You said we needed to talk. Yes. She took a deliberate sip of her martini. It has been 3 weeks since I gave you a month to consider our relationship. I have done my own reassessment. We have invested too much time to abandon this without proper consideration. 3 years, I agreed. That is a significant investment. Exactly. She reached to touch my hand. We are both smart, successful people. We can adjust our parameters to make this work. Parameters. I have drawn up a proposal, she said, her conciliatory tone the one she used in negotiations. I think it addresses both our concerns. From her handbag, she produced a small leather portfolio and passed it to me. Inside was a printed document titled Relationship Restructuring Agreement. I stared at it. You created a contract for our relationship. It is more of a framework, she corrected. It outlines expectations regarding time commitments, career priorities, social obligations, all the areas where we have experienced friction. I skimmed the document, feeling surreal. There were clauses about minimum quality time requirements, vacation allocations, and a section about career-based emergency exceptions that limited how often I could cancel plans for surgeries. You will notice I am generous in the emergency provisions, she said, as if offering a grand concession. Up to 6 major schedule disruptions annually, provided they involve genuine life-threatening situations. 6. I repeated. That is 1 every 2 months, David. Surely other surgeons can cover beyond that. I closed the portfolio. And if I agree to these terms? Her smile was triumphant. Then we move forward. The wedding planning resumes. We get back on track. And if there is a 7th emergency? I asked. The 7th child whose heart needs saving. Her smile faltered. Then we would need to reevaluate whether this arrangement is sustainable. I took a slow sip of scotch, letting the burn ground me. Did you enjoy dinner with Evan Pierce last week? She blinked. How did you? Hospital gossip is impossible to escape. She recovered quickly. Evan and I had a business dinner. He is interested in some investment opportunities one have been developing. I'm sure he is. Do not be crude, David. It was purely professional. Like this. I tapped the portfolio. Is this how you see love, Brielle? As a business arrangement with terms and conditions. I see it as a partnership that requires clear expectations, she countered, her voice cooling. Something you have never seemed to grasp. You are right, I said, surprising her. I have not grasped that, because that is not what love is to me. Then what is it? Constant sacrifice. Martyrdom for the sake of strangers' children. It is supporting each other's purpose, I said. It is seeing someone's dedication as the core of who they are, not an inconvenience to your plans. Her expression hardened. Very poetic, but not very practical. I have been offered the directorship of a new pediatric cardiac center, I said. It would mean more hours, more responsibility, at least initially. That is exactly what we do not need right now. Actually, it is exactly what I need. I pushed the portfolio back toward her. I'm going to take the position, Brielle. She stared, realization dawning. This is your answer, then? You are choosing your career over us. No, I am choosing a life where I do not have to count emergencies or have my worth evaluated on a monthly basis. I removed the engagement ring from my pocket. I had been carrying it for days, knowing this moment would come, and placed it beside the portfolio. I am choosing to end our investment period early. You cannot be serious, she hissed, keeping her voice low despite her anger. After everything we have built. What do we build exactly? I asked. A relationship where love is measured in return on investment, where children's lives are inconveniences to be limited to 6 per year. You will regret this, she said, composure cracking. Do you think you will find someone who accepts your impossible schedule? Who understands your world the way I do? I hope I find someone who does not need to understand it. Just respect that it is important. She laughed, brittle. Good luck with that fantasy. I stood, leaving enough cash to cover the drinks. Goodbye, Brielle. I wish you and Evan the best with your investment opportunities. As I walked away, she called after me, just loud enough for nearby tables to hear. 3 weeks instead of a month. At least you are efficient with your failure. I kept walking, each step lighter than the last. The hospital cafeteria was nearly empty the next morning. I nursed a coffee and reviewed surgical notes for the day when someone slid into the seat across from me. You look terrible, Vanessa observed cheerfully, setting down her own coffee. Like you have not slept in days. Thank you for that assessment, I said dryly. Word on the floor, is that you and finance royalty are officially done. Hospital gossip again, I muttered. Yes, it is true. You do not seem devastated. Is that why you are here? To see me wallow? Partially, she said with a grin. But also to tell you Caleb Williams is being discharged today. His parents are throwing a little celebration in his room. He asked if you would come. Of course, I said, checking my watch. What time? 11 o'clock. She stood as her pager buzzed. Duty calls. See you at Caleb's party. And for what it is worth, I think you made the right call with Betrayal. You deserve someone who gets you. The whole you. Thanks, Vanessa. As she walked away, I noticed a familiar figure enter the cafeteria. A woman with auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, wearing the white coat of pediatric oncology. She was focused on her phone and nearly collided with another doctor. Maya, I said under my breath. Maya Bennett, the woman I had once thought I would marry before distance and ambition and Betrayal intervened. I stood, meaning to approach her, when my pager went off. Whitaker asked to see me immediately about the pediatric center position. By the time I looked up again, Maya was gone, making me wonder if I had imagined her. Shaking it off, I headed to Whitaker's office. David, good, he said when I entered. I know I said you had until Monday, but some developments have accelerated our timeline. The board wants an answer today. Yes, I said without hesitation. He blinked. Just like that. No more personal complications to consider. None whatsoever. A slow smile spread across his face. Excellent. Then let me introduce you to someone. He pressed his intercom. Send her in, please. The door opened, and I froze. Maya walked in, just as surprised to see me. David, she said, her voice sending a jolt through me. You two know each other? Whitaker asked. We went to medical school together, Maya said, recovering faster than I did. It has been years. 6 years, I said. What are you doing in New York? I thought you were in Seattle. I was, she said, until last month. I have accepted a position here as head of pediatric oncology. Whitaker watched us with undisguised interest. Dr. Bennett will be working closely with the Pediatric Cardiac Center, particularly on cases involving both cardiac and oncological concerns. As director, you will be collaborating frequently. Director? Maya's eyebrows rose. Congratulations, David. That is incredible. I just accepted, I said, still processing. Perfect timing, then, Whitaker said, standing. I have a board meeting to attend. Why not catch up? I'm sure you have plenty to discuss. Oh, and David, Caleb Williams's discharge celebration is at 11. I thought you would want to know. After he left, Maya and I sat in the small seating area. So, she said, smiling, Director of Pediatric Cardiac Surgery. I always knew you would do amazing things. What happened to Seattle? I asked. You loved it there. She shrugged. The program changed. New administration, different priorities, less focus on patient care, more on publications and prestige. That does not sound like you. It was not me. Not anymore. Her smile softened. Plus, my dad's health has not been great. He is in New York. I am sorry to hear that. How is he? Stable for now. She studied me. What about you? Last I heard, you were engaged to some finance wizard. Betrayal, I corrected. As of last night, that is over. Oh, her expression was carefully neutral. I'm sorry. Do not be. It was overdue. Silence settled again, charged with unasked questions. Remember that coffee shop near the medical library? She said. The one with the terrible espresso, but amazing scones. Harper's, I said, smiling at the memory. We practically lived there during finals week. I found one just like it 2 blocks from here, she said. Same awful coffee, same life-changing pastries. Some things never change. And some things do, she said quietly, meeting my eyes. Sometimes for the better. A nurse appeared at the doorway. Dr. Carter, I am sorry to interrupt, but Caleb Williams is asking for you. He says it is urgent. I stood immediately. Is he okay? Medically, yes, but he is insistent. I turned to Maya. I am sorry. I need to go. Your patient needs you, she said with understanding. I hesitated. Would you like to get coffee sometime? Catch up properly. Her smile was exactly as I remembered. I would like that very much. How about tomorrow? I know a place with terrible espresso. It is a date, I said, then caught myself. I know what you mean, she said, her eyes warm. Go see your patient. Caleb was sitting on his bed, fully dressed in street clothes, looking impatient. "Finally," he said. "What took you so long?" "I came as soon as I heard it was urgent," I said, looking for his parents. "Where are your mom and dad?" "Getting the car. That is not important." He lowered his voice. "Did you break up with your calculating fiancé?" I stared. "How did you?" "Nurse Vanessa talks a lot when she thinks I'm asleep," he said with a shrug. "So did you." "Yes," I admitted. "Last night." His face split into a grin. "Good, because I have something important to tell you before I leave. And it would have been awkward if you were still with someone who measures love like math homework." "Caleb." "No, listen," he said, suddenly serious. "When I was really sick, before the surgery, I made a deal with the universe. I said if I survived, I would try to make the world better. Pay it forward, you know." I nodded, moved by his earnestness. "So, this is me paying it forward. You saved my life, literally fixed my broken heart. And I think maybe the universe wants me to help fix yours, too. The emotional one." I smiled, taken off guard. "Is that so?" "Yes. When people who save lives every day get told they're not worth it, the universe gets mad. Like cosmic justice mad." "Cosmic justice," I repeated, charmed by his perspective. "Exactly. So I'm telling you, as someone who would not be alive without you, that you are worth everything, and whoever does not see that does not deserve you." The conviction in his voice hit me with unexpected force. "Thank you, Caleb." "You're welcome." He glanced toward the door. "Also, that doctor who just started here, the pretty one with the red hair who works with cancer kids. Nurse Vanessa says you two used to date in medical school." "And how does Vanessa even know that?" He shrugged. "She knows everything. Anyway, Vanessa thinks you should ask her out. For cosmic justice." I laughed, shaking my head. "Is there anything that does not get discussed on the pediatric floor?" "Nope," he said cheerfully. "Oh, and one more thing." His expression turned serious again. "After I get better, can I come back and volunteer here? I want to help other kids who are scared like I was. I could play games with them, tell them it is going to be okay, that being scared is normal." Something tightened in my chest, a feeling I could not immediately name. "I think that is a wonderful idea, Caleb. We would be lucky to have you." "Cool," he said, just as his parents appeared at the door with a wheelchair. "There is my ride. Do not forget what I said, Dr. Carter, about being worth everything." As I watched them leave, Mrs. Williams turned back to mouth a silent "thank you" over her son's head, her eyes bright with tears of gratitude. In that moment, I identified the feeling pressing against my ribs: fulfillment. Not the fleeting satisfaction of buying something expensive or impressing someone at a social gathering, but the deep, lasting fulfillment of having mattered in someone's life. No portfolio could match that return. The following morning, I sat in a small coffee shop 2 blocks from the hospital, nervously checking my watch. The place was exactly as Maya had described: slightly shabby, mismatched furniture, the rich scent of pastries battling an over-roasted coffee smell. The bell above the door jingled, and there she was, hair loose today, wearing jeans and a simple blue sweater that brought out her eyes. "Sorry I am late," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "I got caught up with a new patient consult." "No problem," I said. "I ordered you a latte and a blueberry scone. Still your favorites." Surprise and pleasure flickered across her face. "You remembered? Some things are hard to forget." A comfortable silence settled as the barista set down her coffee. Despite the years apart, being with Maya felt natural, like returning to a favorite book and finding the pages just as you remembered them. "So," she said finally, "tell me about this pediatric cardiac center you will be directing." As I described the vision Whitaker and I had sketched out, Maya listened with genuine interest, asking insightful questions and offering her perspective on collaboration between departments. The conversation flowed easily from work to our families, to mutual medical school friends we had kept in touch with. "Your sister Erica still dislikes me for that time I beat her at beer pong at your graduation party. Does she not?" Maya asked, laughing. "Absolutely," I said, "though she may forgive you now that she knows you are back in New York." "You told her about me?" "She mentioned you recently, before I knew you were here." I hesitated, then chose honesty. "She said I never looked truly happy with Betrayal. Not the way I did with you." Maya's eyes softened. "And what did you say to that?" "Nothing at the time. But she was right." I took a breath. The truth is, ending things with you was the biggest mistake I ever made. I told myself long distance was too hard, that what Brielle and I had made more sense logistically. I was wrong. David, I know it has been years. I continued, needing to say it. I know we're different people now. But being here with you, it feels like no time has passed at all, and I wanted you to know that. She reached across the table, her fingers brushing mine. What if I told you I came to New York partly because I heard you were here? I stared, stunned. What? I ran into Dr. Whitaker at a conference in Chicago 6 months ago, she explained. He mentioned your name and said you were doing incredible work. When the position here opened up, I could not help thinking it might be, I do not know, fate. A second chance. You never struck me as someone who believed in fate, I said, a smile tugging at my lips. Maybe I have changed, she replied, her hand still resting on mine. Or maybe nearly losing my dad made me realize life is too short not to take chances on the things that matter. And what matters to you, Maya? Her eyes held mine steadily. Connection, purpose, making a difference. Being with someone who understands that saving a life sometimes means missing a dinner reservation. Someone who sees that as a feature, not a flaw. My chest tightened with something like hope. Sounds like you have given this some thought. 6 years' worth, she said with a small smile. What about you, David? What matters to you? I thought of Caleb and his parents, of Whitaker's 40-year marriage to his pianist wife, of my mother's birthday dinner, and the simple joy of being present for the people who truly mattered. Being worth it, I said finally, not because of what I earn or where I vacation, but because of who I am and what I do. Being with someone who does not need a month to figure that out. Maya's smile widened. For what it is worth, I figured it out in about 5 minutes yesterday. I laughed. That is a significant improvement on Brielle's timeline. I have always been efficient, she said, her eyes dancing. So what do you think? Are we foolish to consider trying again after all this time? I turned my hand and clasped hers properly. Probably. But as a certain wise 14-year-old recently told me, sometimes the universe gets involved in matters of cosmic justice. Cosmic justice, she repeated, amused. That sounds serious. Very serious, I agreed. Almost as serious as asking if you would like to have dinner with me tonight. A proper date. I would like that very much, she said, her fingers tightening around mine. But fair warning, if you get called away for an emergency surgery, I will understand completely, even if it means canceling at the last minute. Even then, she said, some things are worth waiting for. We sat there, hands linked across a wobbly table in a shabby coffee shop with terrible espresso and life-changing scones, and I finally understood what Brielle had never grasped. Love was not an investment with guaranteed returns. It was a leap of faith taken again and again, day after day. It was choosing someone not because they fit neatly into a 5-year plan, but because they made having a plan worth it in the first place. Brielle had given me a month to prove my worth. In the end, I needed much less time to realize I had been measuring my life by the wrong metrics all along. In the distance, my pager buzzed with a new notification. Without hesitation, Maya released my hand. Go, she said, understanding in her eyes. Save a life. I will be here when you get back. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.